let me start over. It doesn't make any sense. Do you know the song by Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues? It's one of my favorites. I promise I have a point with amigurumi and knitting and crocheting. Well, there's a line in that song that says, I hung my head and cried. He's talking about murdering somebody and feeling really sad about it. His mom told him he should never play with guns. That's not what this is about. I am talking about a project that I recently did. Have you ever cried when you were working on something? You cried, not out of joy, out of sheer frustration. Those hot, angry tears, and you throw the project aside. And I want to share the project because it ended up turning out beautiful. But I'm going to talk about what I learned through pushing through that. I'm going to show you the cutest little bunny ever. And share a pattern review because this one is one you're going to want to know the pros and the cons. This is the little bunny that gave me all the problems. I just could not be happier with how he turned out. I've actually already cast on another one. This is a pattern from Jack Cat. She goes by Jack Cat on Instagram, and if you want to find her patterns on Etsy, she is Knit Zoo. But I'll leave links for both of those in the description box below so that you can find them. She is so inspirational. She has the cutest designs. Now, I have done one of her other ones before. It was the Cranky Bunny, and he turned out really cute. I made two of those. They were super fun, but this guy is quite a bit different. He's much bigger than the ones that I've done before. I actually made one of them while we were glamping up in the Smoky Mountains back in the fall, and it was just beautiful. I'll leave a link for that video in the description box below because that was a really fun one. But this little guy really did give me a lot of problems. He was not easy. He is the whole reason that I cried, threw it down. It's because of these little legs right here. They're pretty small, and I don't love double point needles. But you know what? I'm better at them now after making him. I never get the lighting right in here. If you've ever knitted one of Jet Cat's toys, you know her patterns are extremely long. And when I mean long, I mean this pattern was 57 pages long. I ended up not even printing it out because the printer ink would have cost me a fortune. So I just have it saved on my computer and I just go through it that way. There's a really good benefit to it because number one, her fonts are really big. So I really like large type because it's hard for me to see. Also, she has a lot of notes and a lot of photos. And one of the great things is if it's on your computer, you can just zoom in so that you can see the photos really clearly. You can't do that if it's printed, obviously. And my printer's not good enough for those photos to really show up really, those photos. For the photos to show up really good. What I do, I like the digital copy for it. She also has links to videos, which is fantastic. So if you just keep it on your computer, you can click to watch the video. Now, the videos are all in Russian when she is talking, so I just mute them because I personally don't speak Russian. If you do, then you are in luck because you'll be able to understand what she's saying. But here's the deal. You really don't need to understand the language. She is demonstrating what to do. Oh, this pattern also comes with not just the cute little bunny, but also some of the clothes, which I really love. I love that the whole pattern comes with all of them. So he's got a little cowl. There's a pixie hat. It's so cute. I want to make the pixie hat. There's a little dress and a sweater. He comes with a lot of different things, which I think is really fun. And that's why it's 57 pages long. There's a lot going on in that one pattern. But here's the deal. I want to be completely honest with you about this pattern. He is probably my favorite bunny that I have ever made. The face is very detailed. He is absolutely adorable. So cute. Look at those little legs, the little face, the little cowl, these ears. I love every single part of him. But the pattern is written in English. The translation is good. It's not great. Now, what I found was the instructions, the actual pattern part, that was fine. I did not find any mistakes. The math all makes up. It was really good. The notes, when she's explaining how she's doing something, can be a little bit confusing. And if you aren't familiar with toy construction, if you have not knit or crocheted toys before, I think you will find it a little bit difficult. The part that got me, I was struggling with making these little legs, and that's because the double point needles, you use 2mm needles, and those are pretty small. I think that's a US size 0. That was giving me a little trouble at the beginning, but what really got me was when it was time to connect the legs. That's when I cried, I threw the thing down. I almost just ripped it all out and did not keep going, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. She does a really good job of explaining that if you can get past the joining of the legs, you're going to be home free, and I really found that to be absolutely true. The other thing is that she will just say decrease or increase increase, and you need to know how to do that. She's not going to specify if it's a knit two together or a slip knit. You need to know which one you need to do. That's really important to know if you want to get this pattern. In my opinion, you need to be comfortable enough with your toy making skills that you're like, I can do that. I can make that decision for myself. I still think it is a fantastic pattern. I just think this is not a great one for beginners, and you need a little bit of experience with toy making. So for this little guy, I used a yarn that I have not used before. It's the Cascade 220 Superwash. It is a sport weight. This is not something that I've used before, and I'm gonna be honest, in the beginning when I first started working with it, I disliked it so much. I was so frustrated with it. But you know what? It turns out it really probably a lot had to do with the fact that it is just a smaller weight yarn for the bodies. I typically use a worsted weight for like the little cotton rabbits. It's a little more splitty than the Debbie Bliss Baby Cashmere Merino, which is what I typically use for the clothes for the little cotton rabbits, and that's a sport weight as well. That yarn is a little bit pricey for me to be able to make the bodies. So this was a little more affordable, and it comes in a lot of different colors. I will leave a link in the description box below for you, and I used this color and this color together to make the rabbit. Now I've already cast on another one because it was so much fun. Now he is going to be a little bit gray, or she, I don't know yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but this one is in this pretty little heathered gray. I really love this. This is their Heritage series, and this was Moss. I think that was the color. This is the Heritage. This is a fingering weight yarn, and this is what you use for the clothing. And I'm going to be honest with you, I bought myself a Mother's Day present, and I have ordered other colors because now that I have finished one bunny, I have decided I'm going to make more. This one was so challenging, but once I got through it, like, you know, the last one, these little legs were so hard for me, and the joining and all of that, I was crying and I was so upset. This one, it's okay. I'm just kind of breezing through it. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Also, I have this set of ChiaoGoo needles, and I really like it because it's a whole set. It's got all the different sizes. It starts with a 2, if I can open it. It starts with a 2 millimeter and it goes all the way up to a 3.25 millimeter. So these are really good, but here's what I don't like about these. I don't like starting double point needle projects on metal needles. So I actually ordered a pair of Knitter's Pride. They're wooden. They haven't come yet. They're with my new yarn too, so I can't wait for that to come in the mail. I want to start DPN projects on wooden needles instead of metal because I get really frustrated if they're slipping all around, and even if I am knitting tight, it doesn't really matter. These are actually not that slippery. I've had worse, but they're just a little bit slippery for me when I'm beginning. The other thing that you're going to need to know is that you are going to need 2 sets of 2 millimeter needles because before you join, you are going to be holding the one leg on a set of DPNs while you are knitting the other leg on DPNs. I didn't have 2 sets of the 2 millimeter. I held one set on 2.25 millimeter, and then I had to switch them all, and it ended up being fine. I did just order those wooden 2 millimeter. My mouth doesn't like to work sometimes. I did order the wooden 2 millimeter double point needles, and they'll be coming. So I think that's going to make life a whole lot easier just to have 2 sets. I have a feeling I'm going to be making more of these little bunnies. I have a feeling I'm going to be making more of these little bunnies. Trying to articulate. The face on this bunny is one of the most unique aspects of it, and it's one of the reasons why I love him so much. It's very expressive, and I will say that in the pattern, she has amazing photos and amazing descriptions for how to make the face look like this. I loved being able to learn some of these new techniques, and I'm going to be able to use that in other toys that I make. The other thing that I did was I added a little bit of blush up into the ears here, and I feel like it just gives it a little more dimension. I ended up using like a little paintbrush to be able to get the blush down into those little creases right there. I love it. I just think it looks so beautiful. I talked about it last week, how much I'm enjoying adding blush to things. Yes, it's my own personal blush, but I'm not selling these. These are actually just for me. So going forward, what she actually uses is, what were they? They were the pastels, you know, the little chalky pastels. She uses those with a paintbrush to kind of do some of the shading and some other little, almost sort of painting on them a little bit, which I think is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to be using that because it does give the face a little more depth than just stitching. Was there something else I was gonna say? What was I gonna say? Mr. Bartholomew, what, are you gonna tell me something? He looks like he's about to say something to me. What are you gonna say? You'll know I've gone absolutely crazy when I start telling you that they're talking to me, which, okay, maybe I'm already there. They speak to me without words. They speak to me with their eyes, right? I know I'm crazy. I am really, really happy that I pushed through this project because I can't even describe how close I was to really throwing the towel in. I remember I was actually knitting outside and I just was so frustrated. I just couldn't get this skill. I couldn't get the legs right and I just felt really defeated. I felt so frustrated, and I want to encourage you, if you've been crocheting or knitting long enough, you have experienced that feeling before. But if you're really new to this, sometimes, and I know that I used to do this, I would get to a part in a project and I would just, if it got hard, I would just throw in the towel because I would think, well, I just can't figure it out. I've developed the attitude that a first time I make a project, the first time I'm using a new pattern or something, I don't worry about the outcome. Even though he turned out really cute, I really wasn't that concerned. I used the pattern as a way to teach myself something new. I was really trying to understand exactly what the designer was trying to get me to understand. Restarting it and redoing it and pulling it out and redoing it helped each time to just get a little bit better and a little bit better. And it seems to me like when you're working through these projects that are really tough, that when you just push through the time that's really hard is when you will finally make a breakthrough. So for him, getting past that point where I joined the legs, it was like a light bulb went off and I was able to just completely complete the project and not have any issues. And now that I cast on the second one, I honestly could not believe that I just knit the legs together. I knit the legs all in one evening. This guy, I'm not even joking, it took me 3 days. And I don't mean like I spent 20 minutes 3 days. It took me 3 days of working on it, struggling with it, ripping it out, throwing it on the ground, being angry about it. And finally, now with the new one, I just knit the legs and I just joined them together with no problems whatsoever. And that really is a testament to the fact that we can learn new things. And it's not always pretty. I get that. And this one was not pretty during the process, but now I feel like now I have a new skill. Now I can make these, and that always gives me confidence to try a new project, to try a new skill, to do something different. So that's just what I would like to encourage you. Push through that point because you're going to get to the other side and you're going to learn a new skill that will be invaluable going forward. I hope that helps. I hope this video was a little bit of a help for you today. I hope that my random Johnny Cash reference wasn't too much for you today. As always, if you would hit that like button and that subscribe button, that would be awesome. If you would share this with anybody that you think might enjoy it. I'm going to leave links for the pattern in case you would like to make a little bunny of your own. And as always, thank you so much for spending just a little bit of time with me today. I hope to see you back very soon. I'm going to leave a couple other videos that I think you might like, and also check out my Knitting Toys 101 in case you would like to learn the foundational skills that you need to be able to knit toys yourself. See you all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Sayonara. Adios. What do they say in France? Bonjour means hello. What do they say goodbye? Au revoir. Au revoir. I probably butchered that, right? Au revoir. Bye.